She traded herself for shelter, but the scarred rancher gave her a home and a future. She never dared to dream Willow Creek, Wyoming Territory, December 1881. The wind howled down Main Street like a wounded beast, dragging flurries of snow in its wake and slamming them against the shuttered windows and crooked storefronts of the small town. Lanterns flickered behind frosted glass, casting trembling pools of light onto the frozen ground. In the shadow of the alley beside Mallister's saloon, Anna Harlow pressed herself into the brick wall, arms wrapped tightly around her ribs. Her lips were cracked, her fingers stiff with cold, and the thin shawl around her shoulders did nothing to stop the chill that had sunk deep into her bones. 3 days without food, 4 nights sleeping under porches and stables, wherever she could find a corner of shelter. Her stomach clenched at the scent of beef stew drifting from the saloon, rich, warm, taunting. She clenched her jaw and looked down, trying to will the hunger away. The saloon doors burst open with a gust of warmth and raucous laughter. 2 men stumbled out into the snow, their breath steaming in the frigid air. One of them paused, squinting toward the alley. "Well, what do we have here?" Amos Kane's voice was thick with drink and cruelty. He stepped toward her, boots crunching in the snow. Little bird, all alone in the cold. Anna shrank back, the brick scraping against her spine. "Leave me be." He grinned, showing yellow teeth. "Now that ain't friendly. I got a room upstairs. Fire's warm, bed soft. You come up with me. I'll make sure you get supper." "I said no," she whispered, though her voice trembled. "You sure?" Amos's eyes narrowed, mean and sharp. "You got nowhere else to go. Don't pretend like you're better than what you are. I heard about you folks talk." He reached for her arm. "Let go," she said louder, now twisting away. "Don't be stupid. It's a fair trade. Room and board for a bit of Mac Bear companionship." The lady said, "No." The voice cut through the snow like a blade. Deep, steady calm. From the shadows stepped a man, tall and broad-shouldered, a wide-brimmed hat dusted with snow, his duster coat flapping in the wind. The scar down his left cheek caught the lamplight, a pale line against sun-darkened skin. His eyes were steely gray, unwavering. Amos turned. "This ain't your business, stranger." "It is now." The man's voice didn't rise, didn't threaten, but it didn't need to. Amos puffed up. "You don't know who she is. I know what she is. I know what she is right now. Cold, hungry, and being harassed by a man who can't take no for an answer. You calling me a liar, I'm saying you should walk away." A tense beat past Amos's hand, hovered near the pistol on his hip. Then he sneered and spat into the snow. "She ain't worth it anyway." He turned and stumbled back toward the saloon, muttering curses under his breath. Anna sagged against the wall, her legs threatening to give way. The stranger turned to her, assessing with quiet concern. "You're not all right," he said. "I'm fine," she lied. "When's the last time you ate?" She looked away. Without a word, he shrugged off his heavy coat and draped it around her shoulders. It smelled like saddle leather and wood smoke. Warmth spread through her body so fast it nearly made her cry. Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Because someone should." He held out a gloved hand. "Name's Jacob Thornton. I own a ranch outside of town. Anna Harlow." "I know. Folks have been talking about you, but I watch people for myself. I've seen you trying to find honest work, seen you turn away from men like Amos. What's your point?" "My point is, I need someone to cook, clean, keep the house running. It ain't fancy, but it's honest. Room, board, wages." She stared at him. "What's the catch?" "No catch, just work, and maybe a chance to start over." Snow fell silently between them. Anna's hands clutched the coat tighter. "You trust strangers that easily?" she asked. "Not usually," Jacob replied. "But you don't strike me as the kind of woman who lies about the shape she's in. You, hungry." "Yes," she whispered. "Then let's get you fed." He guided her toward the wagon parked at the end of the street. She hesitated, then climbed aboard as he snapped the reins, and they rolled out. Into the storm. Anna glanced back once at the dim light of the saloon. She had traded her pride for survival, but something told her, Maybe this time she might be trading it for something more. The snow thickened, muffling the sound of the wagon wheels as Anna sat beside Jacob Thornton on the narrow bench. She clutched his coat tighter around her shoulders, bracing against every jolt in the frozen trail. The silence between them was long and uneasy. She glanced at him. His jaw was set, reins firm in his hands, snow gathering on the brim of his hat. He had not spoken since they left town, save to help her. Into the wagon Anna broke the quiet. "How far is your ranch? 2 hours in good weather? Might take longer tonight." The horses snorted, breath rising in thick clouds. She rubbed her stiff fingers. "Do you live alone for a while now?" "No wife, no." His answers were short but not cold. Still, she did not trust easily. In her experience, men expected something in return. "What kind of work do you need?" she asked Cook. "Clean. Keep the place standing. That's all. That's all." She studied his profile. No hunger in his gaze. No slick charm. Just quiet steadiness. It unsettled her more than anything. "You said it's bigger than most. My grandfather started it. My father built it up. I'm just trying to hold it together." Silence returned. Anna looked out at the vastness. Snowy hills, bare trees, mountains, standing watch in the distance. "I didn't expect so much space," she murmured. "Most folks don't. Wyoming's got plenty." They crested a ridge, and the land opened up to reveal the ranch. A 2-story house with a slanted porch, a barn, leaning slightly, and several snow-covered outbuildings. Smoke curled faintly from the chimney. "That's yours?" Jacob nodded. "Needs work, but it's solid." He pulled the wagon up to the porch and jumped down. When he helped her off, his touch was warm and steady. She flinched, but he stepped back, giving her room. Inside the house was cold, but not empty. Dust lingered and the furniture was worn. But there were signs of life: photos on the mantel, boots by the door, a quilt folded neatly on a chair. "Your room's upstairs. Second door on the right." She climbed slowly. The room was small but clean. A single bed, a wooden chest, and a window facing the mountains. A handmade quilt covered the bed in soft faded color. Anna sat on the edge, running her fingers along the stitching. It had been so long since she'd had a room with a door she could close. Downstairs, she heard the crackle of fire. The scent of coffee soon followed. When she came down, Jacob handed her a mug and slid a plate across the table. Bread, butter, cold ham, simple but real. Her hands trembled as she took the mug. The warmth almost too much. "You didn't have to do this," she said. "Maybe not, but I wanted to." They ate in silence, and for once she did not feel the need to explain herself afterward. Jacob leaned back. "There's something I should say. Folks in town will talk about you being here, about me being a bachelor." Anna's spine tensed. "I figured they'll whisper, say you're trading favors for shelter." She swallowed. "They already do." He met her eyes. "Whatever they say, it doesn't change anything here. This is your home now, for as long as you want it." "Oh, the word rang in her like a long-forgotten bell. She looked down. "You don't know what I've done. What might follow me." Jacob's voice was quiet. "I don't need to. I know you needed help. I know you said yes when you could have said no. That's enough." The wind howled outside, but inside, for the first time in a long while, Anna felt something stirred deep in her chest. Hope, life on the Thornton Ranch settled into a rhythm. Each morning, Anna rose before the sun wrapped herself in the heavy shawl Jacob had given her and lit the stove in the kitchen. She swept the floors, washed dishes, and attempted simple meals: porridge, boiled eggs, strong coffee. But on the third morning, while cooking bacon and eggs, the pan hissed and spat. Her sleeve brushed the stove's edge and caught fire. She screamed, stumbling back. The door slammed open. Jacob ran in, grabbed the water bucket by the hearth, and poured it over her. The flames sputtered, leaving her soaked and trembling on the kitchen floor. "I am sorry," she whispered, breath shaky. "I cannot even cook breakfast." Jacob crouched beside her, his voice low. "You're learning that stove's tricky. Just takes time." He handed her a towel, no scolding, no judgment. Over the next hour, he showed her how to read the flames, adjust the dampers, and find the stove's hot spots. His voice was calm, his hands steady as they guided hers. Anna watched him closely, not just the lesson, but the way he moved, spoke, taught. Every action was respectful, deliberate. He treated her with a patience that unsettled her more than cruelty ever had. That night she returned to her room and found a bundle wrapped in brown paper. Atop her quilt inside were 2 new pairs of woolen stockings, a heavier shawl, and a note in Jacob's handwriting. Thought you might need these with the cold coming in days. Later, when the sugar ran out, she found a jar of honey tucked neatly in the pantry. On the table near the window, a stack of books had appeared, worn novels, a slim poetry volume, and a travel journal with pressed flowers between the pages. He never mentioned them, but each offering spoke more than words. Jacob thanked her after every meal, even the burnt ones. He always wiped his boots before stepping inside quietly. Without asking, he fixed the squeaky stair, the loose hinge on her window, the broken drawer in the kitchen. One evening after supper, Anna wandered to the barn and found him kneeling beside a calf, wrapping its leg in a salve-soaked cloth. "You're good with them," she said. Jacob glanced up. "Animals don't lie. They tell you what they need and they don't judge." She took a step closer, drawn by something unspoken. The way he spoke to the calf, low, kind, made something in her chest tighten. She had not known gentleness could look like this. Later that week, while dusting the parlor, she found a photograph tucked behind a row of books. A young woman with bright eyes and dark curls leaned into a younger Jacob. Both smiled like they believed the world would always be kind. She had just picked it up when his voice came from the doorway. Her name was Laura. Turned quickly. "I am sorry, I wasn't trying to pry. It's all right." He stepped in his face, unreadable. "I put it there so I wouldn't see it every day. But I couldn't hide her either. She was beautiful." "She was," he said quietly, taking the photo from her hands. "We were supposed to be married. She died the winter before fever." Anna said nothing. There was nothing to say. She believed in second chances, Jacob added. She thought no one should be judged by their worst mistake. Anna studied him. The scar, the steadiness, the quiet grief behind his eyes. "She must have loved you deeply," she said. "She did." He placed the photo back on the mantel. "And I think she would have liked you." The words landed like a tremor in Anna's chest. She wanted to believe him, wanted to believe someone like her could be known and still be wanted. That night when she returned to her room, she did not look away from the photograph on the mantel. She let its presence linger. For once, she did not feel like a trespasser. She felt invited. The morning sun glinted off the snow-covered fields, but the cold still bit sharp as ever. Anna was drawing the breakfast dishes when she heard the wagon, wheels crunching into the yard. She glanced out the window and saw Jacob returning from town, his face shattered beneath his hat. There was a tightness in his shoulder. She recognized immediately. Trouble. He stepped inside, stomping the snow from his boots. "We need to talk," he said quietly. Anna set the towel down. "What is it a man's been asking around town?" Well-dressed. Said his name was Victor Harlow Har. Breath caught. The name twisted like a knife in her gut. "Said he's your brother." She turned away, gripping the edge of the sink. "He found me." Did not sound like a concerned family man. Jacob said, "Bill over." At the general store, said the man was asking questions. Wanted to know if anyone had seen you. See, there was family business that needed resolving. Anna stayed silent for a long moment. "He is not here." "Because he misses me," she said. Finally, "Victor never does anything that does not serve him." Jacob crossed his arms. "What does he want to silence me?" Jacob's brow furrowed, but he did not interrupt. 3 years. Ago Victor was courting the daughter of one of father's business partners. Emily was just 17. Sweet girl, trusted him. Her voice grew quieter. One night, something happened. He took advantage of her. He hurt. Her family left town the next day. No explanation, just gone. But I saw the bruises, I knew what he did. She met Jacob's gaze, her own steady. I told father, but Victor had already spun his lies, said. Emily was hysterical, unstable. He convinced father that I was trying to sabotage him out of jealousy or spite. Jacob's jaw clenched. And now Victor knows I could ruin him if I spoke to the right people. Judges, business associates, society types, his whole reputation would crumble. He is not here to bring me home. He is here to make sure I never talk. Jacob nodded slowly. Then he will find me standing in. His way, Anna looked at him, her heart tightening. I do not want you caught in this. She said I already am. They were still standing in the kitchen when the sound of hooves broke through the quiet. Anna stepped to the window. A lone rider approached the house, his coat immaculate, his posture too perfect to be anything but practiced. Even from a distance, she recognized the way he held himself. Victor. Harlow. He dismounted smoothly, tied the res to the porch rail, and looked up at the house with a smug expression. Jacob moved to the door, but Anna stopped him. I will talk to him. I will be right behind you, he said. They stepped onto the porch together. Victor smiled at the sight of her. Well, there you are, little sister. You have certainly made yourself at home, Victor. I must say I expected something less civilized, but this, he gestured to the house, is almost respectable. What do you want? She asked. To bring you home, of course. His voice was syrupy, each word oozing false concern. Father has been beside himself. Father disowned me. Or did you forget? Victor's smile tightened. That was before he heard your side. I am sure if you came back and made amends, I am not going back. Victor's eyes flicked to Jacob. And I suppose this cowboy has something to do with your sudden defiance. Jacob stepped forward. She is not property. She makes her own choices. Victor's expression hardened. You think she told you the truth? You think she's some wrong girl just trying to survive? Ask her about what she did in Laram. Ask about the scandal with Jonathan Webb. And his stomach turned. That is not your story, to Twisto, but it is. Victor said smoothly. See, it is your word against mine, dear sister, and you are already running from one mess. How many more before this man here realizes what you are? Jacob's voice was calm but etched with steel. She does not owe you anything. You are not welcome here. Victor's gaze sharpened. Careful, Thornton. You think this ends with a warning. I always finish what I start. Then, start walking, Jacob said. Victor's eyes lingered on Anna, a flash of something dangerous passing through them. This is not over. He turned, mounted his horse, and rode away, the wind swallowing the sound of hooves. Anna stood frozen on the porch, her heart racing cold despite the sun. He's not done, she said softly. Jacob placed a steady hand on her back. Neither are we. The wind had stilled, but the cold cut sharper than ever. Snow crunched under Victor Harlow's polished boots. As he approached the porch, a folded paper in one gloved hand, two men watching from the gate, immaculate in a dark coat and gloves. He radiated confidence. Anna and Jacob stepped outside to meet him. Victor raised the paper. Anna Harlow, by authority of Sheriff Lom, I'm placing you under arrest. Theft, $200 from your father's. Restored. Jacob's voice was flat. Let me see the warrant. Victor gave a smug smile. This is family business. Stay out of it. Jacob didn't move. Warrant. Victor slid the paper back into his coat. The sheriff will sort it when she's returned. I didn't steal anything, Anna said. Victor spread his arms. You vanished the same night the money did. People will draw conclusions. You forged that document. Anna said. I don't need to forge anything, Victor said, coolly. People just need a reason to question you, like Samuel Reed. Anna stiffened to Victor. Turned to Jacob. Did she tell you about him, the man who paid her when she was 17? That's enough. Anna snapped. She took his money, meals, clothes, little gifts, until she refused to give what he wanted most. Jacob looked at her. I was 17. She said. I thought he cared. Victor's smirk deepened. But she took the money, same as with father. It's a pattern, Leaf Jacob said, stepping forward. Victor's hand moved fast, too fast. In a blink, he had a pistol aimed at Anna. She's coming with me, he growled, in the wagon or in a box. Time slowed. Jacob launched forward, tackling Victor to the ground. The gun flew into the snow. They grappled violently until Victor yanked a blade from his boot and slashed. Jacob gasped as the knife grazed his arm, blood soaking his sleeve. "Stop," Anna screamed, diving for the pistol near the porch. She pointed at hands shaking. Victor let him go. The blade hovered above Jacob's throat. "Do it," she shouted. "I'll shoot." Victor froze, chest heaving. "You don't have the nerve. Try me," Anna said. "One more step and I end this." Jacob seized the moment to shove Victor away. They rolled apart, blood painting the snow. Victor stood panting and furious. "This changes nothing," he hissed. Anna steadied the gun. "I know what you've done. The missing funds, the forged contracts, the land, stolen in Father's name." Victor pawed. "You're bluffing. I watched you. I remember every deal. You thought no one noticed." He looked toward his men at the gate, then back at her. "No one will believe you. You're a runaway with a ruined name." "I believe her," Jacob said, now on his feet, blood on his sleeve. He moved beside Anna. "She was a child. Someone used her trust. That makes her a victim, not a criminal." "You don't get to define her." Anna's hand steadied. Something in her heart locked into place. "Leave," she said. Victor hesitated. "If you ever come near me again, I'll tell everyone, and I won't be alone." Victor's lips curled. "You'll regret this." "No," she said, "not anymore." He stepped back, brushed the snow from his coat, and turned. Without another word, he mounted his horse and disappeared into the trees, his men following. Anna lowered the gun, breath uneven. Jacob looked at her. "You're shaking. You're bleeding," she replied. He gave a faint grin. "You should see the other guy." She laughed, raw and shaky but real. And for the first time she felt tall. Not because of the weapon in her hand, because someone finally believed she was worth standing beside. The snow had begun to melt around the edges of the Thornton Ranch, but inside the air felt heavier than any winter storm. A knock came just after sunrise. Jacob stepped outside to retrieve the telegram, and when he read it, his face darkened. Anna, standing by the stove, felt dread coil in her gut. "What is it?" He handed her the yellow paper from the sheriff's office in Cheyenne. Her eyes scanned the words and the blood drained from her face. Victor had filed formal charges. He now claimed she had stolen $500, more than double the original accusation. 3 witnesses had signed sworn affidavit claiming to have seen her take the money from her father's store. Anna sank onto a chair. "He is escalating. He knows I am not running. So now he is trying to bury me." Jacob crouched beside her. "He's bluffing." "No," she whispered. "He's building a noose with forged rope and daring me to call it false, and people are going to believe it. We will fight it with what Victor has: money, lawyers, connections. I have a past people whisper about, and a brother who wants to see me disappear." "You have me," Jacob said. She shook her head. "I cannot let you destroy your life over this. If he drags you into this, he will ruin you too." Jacob stood slowly, took her hands in his, and met her eyes. "I love you." The words came without hesitation, quiet but clear. "I did not expect it," he continued. "Did not want it even. But it is the truth. I love you." Anna Harlow, tears stung her eyes. "You cannot." He smiled faintly, too late for that. She looked away. "If you knew everything about me, what I've done, what I've survived, you would not say that I know enough. I know you are brave. I know you are kind. I know you cook better than I do. Even if the stove hates you, I know that this house became a home the day you walked through the door." Her breath hitched, and for a moment she let herself believe it was possible to be seen, truly seen, and still loved. But the moment shattered with the pounding of hooves and the crunch of boots in snow. Jacob moved quickly to the porch. Sheriff Lom stood with 2 deputies, all 3 solemn beneath the brim of their hats. The sheriff held a folded paper in one hand. "Miss Harlow," he said, "I am afraid I have to take you into custody." Anna stepped outside, chin lifted. "On what charges?" "Theft and fraud," Lom said, "and fleeing prosecution. I have a warrant signed by the territorial judge himself." Jacob stepped between them. "Let me see it." The sheriff handed it over. Jacob scanned the lines, frowning. "This says $500 new." "Evidence came in," Lom said. "Apparently Miss Harlow's crime was more extensive than first believed." Anna's hands bowled into fists. "That is a lie." "Then prove it," the sheriff said. "But you will need to do it." In Cheyenne, Jacob's voice was calm. "She has the right to contact a judge." Lom hesitated. "Technically, yes." Anna looked to Jacob. "Judge Whitaker. He knows our family. His niece was." Her voice caught Emily. Jacob's eyes widened. "The girl Victor hurt," Anna nodded. "He will listen." Jacob turned to the sheriff. "Let us send one telegram. That is all we ask." The sheriff sighed. "Fine, but I cannot wait long." "You have until tomorrow morning. I will ride into town myself." Jacob said, "I will send it within the hour." Anna stood on the porch watching Jacob prepare his horse. "What if he does not answer? Then we will figure out what comes next together." She nodded, then stepped forward and pressed her hand to his chest. "You meant what you said." Jacob looked down at her. "Every word." Then he rode toward town, the telegram burning, a hole in his coat pocket, carrying her last hope on the strength of his simple message. "Investigate Victor Harlow. Ask about Emily. Truth matters more than blood." The morning air was still, the sky pale gray. As sunlight broke over the mountains, Jacob stood on the porch reading a yellow telegram. His eyes moved quickly across the lines before he stepped back inside. Anna looked up from the table where she had sat most of the night waiting. "Well," she asked, her voice rough from exhaustion. Jacob held out the telegram. "It's from Judge Whitaker." She unfolded it with shaking hands. "Victor Harlow under investigation for fraud and possible involvement in Emily Rollins' death. Federal inquiry underway. Charges against Anna Harlow under review. Federal marshal en route. Hold position." Anna stared at the words, her breath catching. "He believed me." Jacob knelt beside her. "Of course he did." "Then maybe I have a chance." "You always did," he said softly. By midday, Marshal Evans arrived, a tall man in a dark coat dusted with snow. His 2 deputies remained outside while he stepped into the parlor, a worn notebook in hand. "Miss Harlow," he said, tipping his hat, "I was sent by Judge Whitaker to begin a formal investigation. I need you to tell me everything." Anna sat stiffly on the settee, hands clenched in her lap. Jacob sat beside her, silently offering his hand. She took it. "I was 17, she began. "Victor was. Already my father's favorite. He knew it. He used it. I noticed the ledgers weren't right. Missing money, fake entries. Victor always brushed it off." Marshal Evans nodded. "Go on." "Then Emily came along. She was sweet, trusted Victor. I warned her, but she believed he meant to marry her." Anna swallowed. I found her crying. She didn't say much, but the bruises. The next morning, her family left town, just vanished. She paused. I tried to tell my father, but Victor got there first. Told him I was jealous, that I lied. And the financial matters. Victor forged land deals, moved money into shell companies. I recognized the names. He used ones I'd helped file when I worked at the store. Marshal Evans scribbled notes and the charges he filed against you. Al. Lies. I never stole anything. He created the story, bought the witnesses. That's how he works." The marshal finished writing, then looked up. "I believe you." Anna blinked. "We've already discredited 2 of his witnesses. Judge Whitaker confirmed that Emily died of internal injuries consistent with assault. Her family only just spoke up." Anna's breath shook. "Effective immediately." Marshal Evans said, "The charges against you are dropped. Victor Harlow is wanted for fraud, obstruction, and possibly more. We'll find him." Tears filled her eyes, not from fear, but from release. Jacob hadn't let go of her hand once. As the marshal left, Jacob remained by her side, quiet. "I didn't think this day would come," Anna said softly. "You earned it," he replied. "You fought for it. I couldn't have done it alone. You didn't have to." She turned to him. "You never asked me to explain. Never. Made me feel like I had to." He reached out and touched her cheek, brushing away a tear. "I see you, Anna. Not who they say you are. Just you." Outside, the wind stirred gently, but inside the house, the silence no longer felt heavy. Anna leaned back, still holding his hand. The past hadn't disappeared, but it no longer defined her. Not here, not with him. The sun rose brighter the next morning, casting golden light over snow-dusted fields. Birds returned to their song, and the chill that had gripped the land for weeks began to ease. For the first time in a long while, Anna Harlow felt the air in her lungs belonged solely to her. The past hadn't vanished, but it no longer held her hostage. Jacob stood on the porch, coffee in hand, his injured arm bound beneath his coat. When Anna stepped outside, he turned to her with a soft smile. "You slept," he said. "For the first time in days," she replied. They stood in silence, watching the sky shift from amber to blue. Jacob sat down his mug. "I've been thinking about everything we've faced and what comes next." Anna held her breath. "I built this ranch to last for a family, for a future I didn't think I'd have again. But then you came." He knelt, drawing a simple silver band from his pocket, braided. "Worn honest and a Harlow," he said. "Will you marry me?" Her heart surged. Once she had traded dignity for warmth. She had walked through snow and shame with only grit to keep her upright. Now a man knelt before her, not to save her, but because he saw her strength. "Yes," she whispered. Then firmer, "Yes, Jacob Thornton." He slipped the ring onto her finger and embraced her, not desperate, but grounding. Real later that week, a letter arrived. The handwriting was unmistakable, precise, formal, a bit cold. Anna held it for a long moment before breaking the seal. "My dearest Anna, I write with more shame than a father should ever carry. Marshal Evans came to me last week. He showed me everything. Victor's lies, his crimes, and the pain I caused by believing the wrong child. I have no excuse. I should have listened. I should have looked beyond pride. I failed you. If you can forgive a foolish old man, I'd like to see you again, not to bring you home, but to know the woman you've become. I will not interfere with your life. I only hope it's one of peace and love. Your father, Nathaniel Harlow." Tears blurred her vision as she read it again. Jacob found her in the parlor, the letter against her chest. "He wrote," she said. "He finally sees it." Jacob took the letter, read it quietly, then placed it gently beside Laura's photo on the mantel. "You can go to him," he said softly. "I don't want to leave. Not now, but maybe one day. When you do," he said, "you won't go alone." Spring began to stretch across the land, melting snow-green sheets, breaking ground, birds nesting beneath the barn's eaves. The ranch came alive again. Anna and Jacob worked side by side, mending fences, planting vegetables, repainting the porch. They laughed more easily, made plans without fear. One evening, as dusk painted the sky in pink and lavender, they stood on the porch together. Anna leaned into Jacob, his arm warm around her shoulders. "Do you ever wonder," she asked, "what would have happened if I went with Victor that night?" Jacob thought for a moment. "I think the snow still would have fallen and the wind still howled, but this porch would be empty and I'd still be waiting for something I didn't know I needed." Anna smiled, eyes on the horizon. "This place, it's more than shelter. It's home." They stood together as the last light faded beyond the hills. The storm had passed, and in its place hope, a new season, a new life together. And so, from the biting winds of winter to the soft promise of spring, Anna and Jacob found what many spent a lifetime searching for, a love built not on perfection, but on truth, not on escape, but on home, in a land where The storms never asked permission, and the past never fully let go. They chose each other anyway, because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stay. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to Wild West Love Stories, where every week we bring you timeless tales of love, loss, and redemption from the untamed heart of the American frontier. Hit the bell so you never miss a story where bullets missed, but hearts didn't.